their user right in according to the law. And this can be increased. We want to increase this around the other national parks as Bumbabek, whose the plan is in preparation. We think we will involve better those population inside. And we want also, the policy is also to not make them only involved in national park, but to be better involved in the management of resources even outside the parks. Is the case with community forestry. And now we have in this southeast community forestry belongs exclusively to Bakas. I think it is the policy we want to involve, to better involve local population and particularly indigenous people to the sustainable use of these resources. This is the word of the expression, and we want to increase it with the support of our the partners of the ministry.
WF has one principle, that is participatory management, and at the forefront, putting indigenous forest people at the center of every action that we are taking on the ground. That implies we know they depend on the forest for their livelihood, for their survival. And we are working with the Ministry of Forest and Wildlife and other technical services to some sort of map out, identify and map out use zones or user zones of pygmies. Why doing this mapping is to ensure their zones are identified and preserved and protected, and to put in place mechanisms whereby these pygmies can easily have access to these resources and should feel free using these resources, but with an underlying principle of a more rational use of the resources and not making the abuse in terms of exploitation of certain resources like elephants or gorillas, which are highly protected on a global scale.
On the ground, the World Wide Fund for Nature are effectively working with the backers to find out what forest means for the indigenous people. It takes a lot of guts, a lot of determination for the WWF to reach out to the backers who usually live in the fringes of society. Crossing the Jar River to reach out to the backers near the Lobéké National Park requires significant physical exertion, as the now dilapidated ferry has to be pulled by hand. The risk here can be enormous. Babaleka, a little Baka community near the Lobéké National Park. A team of WWF officials are working closely with the backers to clearly identify the areas where these forest people can easily get what they need from the forest. The technique is called participative mapping.
The essence was to integrate Baka Pygmies culture and Baka Pygmy culture and behavior inside the management plan of Lobéké National Park. Their social life was not integrated inside the management plan, and this study will permit Baka Pygmy to be integrated, will permit their culture to be integrated inside the management plan of Lobéké National Park.
The backers can therefore penetrate the parks to carry out their traditional activities. How they harvest honey can be an issue of special interest. By the use of twines, they scamper up trees where bees have hived. Care is taken not to destroy the bees or set the forest ablaze. But smoke is used to weaken the bees and ensure they don't sting. The tree trunk is then axed to reach the honeycombs. When the honey is harvested, a hastily fabricated leafy container is used to collect it. The Yele song is used when the men go hunting. It is a sort of prayer requesting a fruitful hunt. The Bakas hardly use guns in hunting. They lay traps that require a certain amount of technicity, and a wire snare is generally used. Sometimes, Bakas have the capacity to produce animal-like sounds as a way of inviting the species to the trap. The Cameroon Ministry of Forestry and Wildlife and the Worldwide Fund for Nature are, however, sensitizing the Bakas on the need to preserve certain animal species. They are now being orientated towards carrying out fishing as an alternative source of protein. Old habits, though, generally die hard. The government of Cameroon as a whole has opted for the continuous sensitization of the Bakas.
Everybody knows that the park is important for them. They know how to manage their park, how to manage their life according to this park. It is then very important for them. You see also that the existence of this park enables us to teach to our people how to manage their daily life. They used to go to hunt, but now we can tell them that not only hunting, you can also do this. You can live only with hunting. You can also do what the Baka people, they had in history their own way of living. They go to the bush, they go to they don't know farming. It is important for us now to teach them that you can also farm. So the state can now transform, can now improve the daily life of Baka people and tell to the others that from this forest you can do what you call sometimes I forget, it is about development. There is in French they call it développement durable. In English, sustainable development. Because for the state, we must teach to people the idea, very important idea, the idea of sustainable development.
And the Bakas now see some reason in all this.
I do agree that the forest should be preserved. We are forest people and we need to continue enjoying our forest.
Balancing environmental protection with the access rights of the Bakas to the forest has therefore become the essence of government's forestry policy. It has been for many years now the whole business of WWF to see that this new twist to forest management works.
Our basic mission in Southeast Cameroon basically is to ensure rational use and management of the natural resources with participation of all the key players. What I mean here, the key players are the local communities, the logging companies, the local administration, and just everybody who is involved in the whole process of natural resource exploitation and use.
All this is intended to avoid a future that could be imperiled if nothing is done. It means restoring the spirit of the forest, a spirit of striking a balance between today's needs and tomorrow's demand.